Well, for years I had a shop that worked great for me, but when it came time to relocate more than 1,200 miles away, I had the chance to do something I always dreamed of, building a brand new woodworking shop from the ground up. Well, welcome to Old Guy Woodworks. Let me tell you a story about how I moved my shop 1,200 miles to a bare piece of grass and built the shop I always dreamed of. I'm going to cover design, build, improvements so far, future improvements, and things I'd do different, but that's at the end. Well, when it came to design, I had one priority: size. Because size matters, at least according to your financial means. The biggest limitation was my lot. To keep the access that I wanted, the shop could only be 30 foot wide. Included in the design was 2 roll-up doors, plus a main door at the front, one at the rear, so I could have easy access. Power was a high priority item, so I designed the shop with a dedicated 200 amp sub-panel for tools, lighting, and the radiant floor heat. I added windows in the right spots, one for a future office and the other to keep the plants alive while they were indoors during the winter. Before I could even start building, I had to deconstruct my old shop and move it more than 1,200 miles. The new site was nothing but lawn. We stripped the grass, laid down a compacted gravel pad, and started post-spring construction. Footings were laid out, the holes were dug, and the concrete was poured, all in one day. Each post took about a yard of concrete each. They started running a few girts on that day, but waited till the next day to finish up putting in all the girts and cutting the columns to height. With the columns at the proper height, they started running the trusses, and I think they got about 3/4 of them done in that day, but they definitely finished them up the next day. Here's a view out the back window while it's framed. The metal roof and the insulation went on at the same time, followed by the siding, and suddenly there was a shell standing. Now that we had a standing shell, it was up to me to figure out how to get the slab poured. So I hired those guys. They graded it out for me, but before they could pour the slab, I had to lay down the foam board insulation, run the PEX tubing for the radiant floor heat, and then they could come back and pour a 5-inch slab. Now we got a shell, time to move in. Check out the size of this shop. So when we first moved everything in, it was more of a storage unit than it was a woodworking shop. I got household furnishings everywhere. I got a trailer over there. I got tools that I can't even find. Really wasn't the shop of my dreams. At first I thought I'd wait on the heating, but one of the smartest moves I did was installing the radiant floor heating early on. Not just for me, but really for the protection of all the belongings inside. That meant pulling a dedicated 20 amp circuit just for the heating system equipment. Then I got lucky. My neighbor owns an LED lighting company and he smokes cigars. Thanks to that combination, I scored 8 giant 300 watt LED fixtures. Overnight, the place went from dank and dark to near daylight. Oh, did I mention there's a cigar smoking station? I also ran a dedicated 240 volt circuit for the air compressor and a separate one for the table saw. As storage moved out in phases, I reclaimed shop space. First project we had to do was insulation. Original walls are only R9, so we added some R38 and upgraded them to R47. Covered them with some 1x4 and 1x6 pine that I had. But due to budgetary constraints, I could only do 2 40-foot sections to 8 foot tall. With a couple sections of wall complete, I was able to start building some cabinets. That way I could organize some tools and household items. Each cabinet gave me back more workspace. Once my space opened up, I started rolling tools into place. Well, where I thought they might go. Almost everything I have is mobile, which makes it easy to reconfigure as I figure out my workflow. One of the best additions was a 5x10 MFT assembly table on wheels. I placed my table saw, edge bander, router table, miter saw where I thought they made the most sense, and even set aside spots for a dust collector and a pocket hole cutter. The bandsaw, planer, wide belt sander, and my drill press still need permanent homes, but that's coming. It's taken us almost 2 years to get to the point we're at right now. But with the additional insulation, the new cabinets, the walls, the rolling tools, space is really starting to feel like a real workshop.
Still have some improvements to do. Gotta move this clamp rack, it's ridiculous. Way too far from the assembly table. We were able to put this really nice durable Phoenix top in. Really durable and looks really good. Put a dedicated 20 amp circuit on the north wall and the south wall. And I added some more outlets on the 30 amp table saw circuit.
Got this lumber rack supposed to keep everything off the floor. LED lighting just lights up the world. Radiant floor heat works as well as my budget allows me to. And my 5x10 MFT assembly table. Each improvement has made the workshop a lot more efficient. This is why I like doors. I can't see the mess.
Now that I've used the shop for a while, there are a few things I do differently. I didn't really need 2 roll-up doors in the front, but I do wish that I had a second one in the back. Kind of wish I'd have put window panels in both the doors for a little more extra natural light. Also wish I would have added a row of fixed windows up high across the south wall. And some attic ventilation is something I overlooked. Right now the shop is open all the way to the rafters, but if I ever add a ceiling, the ventilation is going to be a little more critical.
None of these are really deal breakers, but if you're designing your own shop, it's certainly something that you should consider. So looking forward, I know there's a lot of improvements I want to do here, but like anything else, it's all budget driven.
Tool placement's probably going to change a little bit as I kind of refine my workflow, always keeping in mind the work triangle.
One of my bigger improvements is putting a mezzanine across here with a set of stairs coming down there. Then I would divide the bottom of the mezzanine about there. That'd be a mechanical room. Then put another wall here, and that back there would be an office, and straight ahead would be probably a spray booth. I want a new CNC, but I actually think I should get a dust collector. Not this AI generated one. Gonna have to put not this AI generated miter saw in here, but a real miter saw station, probably right in here somewhere. Here's where I'd love some input. Should I build my next CNC or should I buy my next CNC? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So this new shop has really changed the way that I work, and I can't wait to see what's next. Thanks for joining me on my build story, and remember, beating youth and inexperience with old age and treachery. See you real soon.